Okay, hi everybody. Thank you for joining us today on our wellness webinar. And we're talking about self-love today. And that's one of the things that I really struggled with in my life. Because all my life growing up, people told me I wasn't good enough, I wasn't pretty enough, I was tall and lanky. And those days it was nice to be short and petite. And little girls should be all small and petite. And I wasn't, I was lanky. And I was 14 years old. I was 5'7", which I still am today. And I was skinny as anything. I weighed about 40 kilos and it looked terrible. And everybody used to tease me. And oh my God, I had such a bad self-image. And people, and as soon as I got to do things really well, my mother would say to me, "Who the hell do you think you are?" And I just thought, well, I actually think I'm okay, but you obviously don't. And so the world tells you about yourself and you take it for granted that that's how you are. And little do you realize that it takes you a lifetime to actually realize who you are, what you are, and that you are enough. And that is the most important thing. So I hope you've all written on your mirror, "I am enough." I've got it written big on my mirror. I should take and show you. So you are enough. However you are, you're absolutely perfect. You're as God made you. And I know when they asked Oprah, they said, "Who do you think you are?" And she said, they said to her, "No, you're so full of yourself." And she said, "I'm so full that it's running over. And that's why I've got so much to give to you." And that's what I say to people. I have so much to give to people, and that I constantly, every single day, work with people, improving themselves. People get themselves into such a mess in life today. It's so easy to get into a real mess. But let your mess be your message. And that's your message that you've got to get out of it. And it's God's way of telling you that you've hit rock bottom or whatever your mess is, and you've got to move on and get better. And how can you do that? You absolutely have to love yourself. And when I started with Kerry and she said I had to do that, it was one of the things I used to bluff I did. I used to bluff. And she said, "Have you all said I love yourself in the mirror?" And I said, "I'm not going to do that. I can't do that." I felt very uncomfortable. So I thought, well, what I'd do is at Hirsch's, we've got mirror fridges. So I put a mirror fridge in front of the entire staff and tell them, all to the last one, they had to walk up to themselves and say, "I love you," into the mirror in the fridge. Do you think they could do that? Oh my God. I think about 60% absolutely refused, wouldn't do it, especially the men. They didn't do it. Now it's funny because men think they're great. They really do. You ask any man, what do you like? "I'm fantastic. I'm this, I'm that." They think they're wonderful. Women always doubt themselves. Like, "Oh, I'm not so sure. Am I okay?" But men usually do. But they battled and they couldn't do it. And I battled to do it too for many years. But eventually one day I was at a computer and I was waiting for someone to come in. And I thought, wow, I actually quite like the person in the mirror. And the next day I played the man in the mirror for all the people at work and made them do it all over again. And that's how I started. But it's very difficult to do. And, you can't love anybody else until you can really love yourself. So you really have to, it's absolutely essential that you do that. And people, when they say, "Who do you think you are?" they're implying that you think you're more powerful than you really are. But nothing could be further from the truth, because you really are the most powerful person that you know, because you've got that potential inside. You can do it, but it holds you back. And I'm going to say at this stage, please mail Rochelle to join us on this webinar, because she really needs it. And we all know somebody who really needs this in their life, who just has hit rock bottom and has really got a long way to go. And so we're going to go there. So just thank you to all my friends who've joined. I know Vanessa's joined from Portugal and Henry's joined from Australia. And we've got lots and lots of different people who've joined from all over. So, and I know that lots and lots of you will watch on Facebook. So it's amazing. So it's not you who are not who you are that holds you back. It's who you think you're not. And I love that saying. It's just amazing. And this weekend, I watched the Hay House videos on reinvent yourself. And I reinvented myself a few times in my life. And I was hectically busy this weekend. But I was wanting to take and show you what I used to look like. And I know Shane's got some pictures of what I used to look like. And I used to have thick black hair. There was a TV show called The Nanny, and I used to follow her, and I used to think she was amazing. And I had this amazing black hair that went right down to my waist. It was curly, curly, curly. And that's how I spent most of my life. And then I cut it, and I looked really stupid because my head's very small for my body, and it really didn't suit me. And of course, then I dyed it blonde. And the day I dyed my hair blonde, my husband didn't recognize me. He didn't even know who I was. He thought he'd come to the wrong house. So that was an amazing thing. And then now, of course, I've got multicolored. My son says I look like a tabby cat, but you've got to understand that you can continue to reinvent yourself, and you can become the person you want to be. I became the person I wanted to be. I come out of a foster home in Lucy Peter Maritzburg. I had a single mother who had absolutely nothing and zero confidence in herself. And I could have stayed there, but I decided that I was worth more. And I think it's the day you decide you're worth more that things start to come right. I was worth more than this. My life should be better than this. I shouldn't be a poor person struggling and battling. And why did my parents struggle and battle their whole life when I'm sure they didn't have to? Other people's parents were wealthy. How come I didn't have wealthy parents? And when I had children, I wanted my children to be proud of me. I wanted my children to say, I didn't want my children to say, park around the corner. I don't want anybody to see your shabby old car, or I didn't want people to know you got off the bus and walked here. And so I made sure that my life turned out the way I wanted it to be. And I think that's what this is all about. How do you have the life of your dreams? At the moment, I'm living the life of my dreams. That was my hair. How was that hairstyle? That was taken about 1982, I think, or 83, somewhere around there. That's what I looked like. Now, I could have stayed like that, and I could have just stayed in Glenadel and been that person, but I decided that there was more out there for me. And then I decided when I was working that I wanted to live the life of my dreams. I wanted to make my money work for me instead of me working for it. And that's when I started saving and getting my property portfolio going so that I would have enough money to live on when I came to this age. So now, like yesterday, I got up, I played pickleball, I went to the beach, had a swim in the sea, I came back, went for a walk. I mean, I'm living the life of my dreams. And that's why we do this with Kerry and I. We are both living the life that we've chosen. And we want you to have that life as well. But you can only have it if you absolutely love yourself. So Kerry, welcome back to the show again, and my co-host. And tell me, yes, how's it going in New Zealand? And tell us about self-love and how you get people to actually decide to love themselves.
Yeah, thank you, Margaret. And I think this is such a vital subject. It really, really is, because whatever's going on the inside shines out to the outside. And if there isn't some deep, deep self-love going on, often that is not showing on the outside either. So I remember, your story as well about, I don't know whether it was back in the day, like women were not supposed to love themselves, because I had a mother that told me the same thing, like, don't be vain. Don't look in the mirror. Don't look in the mirror. Don't be vain. And it was just like, well, you know what? So I never looked in the mirror. I never looked in the mirror. And I remember my sister, she's 7 years younger than me. She was born with this beautiful blonde hair. So we are so different, but she had these beautiful curls, like really long curls. And she was about 4 years old. And she was looking in the mirror at these beautiful blonde curls. And my mom cut her hair off like a boy.
No, oh God.
And it was just like, don't look in the mirror. Don't look in the mirror. You look in the mirror at yourself, you're going to be vain. So that was the message that I had grown up with. So it took me a long time to reprogram my own thinking. And I remember doing this self-development course in my late 20s. And we were in this group of people. And so we were in this hall, and there was probably about 20 or 30 people. And they actually put a mirror in front of us.
Yeah.
So now you in front of people, like you did in the Who store, you're in front of people with a mirror in front, and they said, you say, I love you. And it was like, it was the hardest thing for me to do. It was the hardest thing. But when I said those words, and when I looked into my eyes, and this is the real trick, is to look into your eyes and say those words, because then your soul feels them.
Yes.
Down inside you, you really feel it. So you look into your eyes and you say, I love you. It hit me, and I just burst out crying. I thought it's a time in my life that I've actually given myself some self-love. That I actually felt it, and I felt it from my soul. I felt it from a really, really deep, side of me. And that's when I knew I connected, and something else shined out of me from that moment onwards. Like, I'm always going to love myself. I'm always going to put me first. I'm always going to take care of me, because if I do that, I'm able to take care of others. I'm able to love others. I'm able to shine the love out there in more of a way. Often I come across ladies that are looking for other people's confirmations and other people's, love.
I talk on that this morning, where they need validation from other people. You don't need anybody else's validation. So long as you validate yourself, you should do that. And I encourage all the women out there to have a group. I started with a tiny group of 6 people in Joburg, and it grew to a group of about 2,000 in the end. And now it's just starting. Yeah, I've called it the Sparkle Squad. Just that's for Shane and Faye who are watching. The Sparkle Squad. We're going to sparkle. We're going to let our light shine. And I've got a lovely video that I play with Dolly Parton and Oprah Winfrey that you can all Google when we finished. And it's called This Little Light of Mine. I'm going to let it shine. And that you really have to let that little light shine. And I love Dolly Parton. I absolutely love her. I think she's amazing. And especially now she's reinvented herself as a rock star. She's older than me, so I'm 74, so she's 77, and she reinvented herself as a rock star. Now, that takes a lot of gumption, and of course she got critics, and of course you'll get critics. When you change and you do something different, the critics come out. They're waiting in the wings, ready to pounce, and you just have to be that strong that you can bob them off. And I've got a Wonder Woman picture, which I love to show. And Shane, I don't know if you've got it now, but my Wonder Woman picture is just Wonder Woman from way back when till now. And it's going up above my bed in my new house, much to my husband's horror. So, and that Wonder Woman comes out and you just fob them off, you shake them off and let them get on with their lives, and you focus on your life and focus on doing good for others. And that's what it's all about. But you can't do that unless you're sure of yourself on the inside. So Kerry, tell me about, the whole weekend was women reinventing themselves and how women really have to reinvent themselves from time to time. And because you've been in through the reinvention, you like me, we love adventure, we change countries, we do all sorts of things. And, we don't stay in our little mold and just go, I'm going to sit here till I die type of thing. We want to get out there and see things and make things happen. But to women who want to reinvent themselves, where does it actually start?
Yeah, it really does start from within. And I have to say, you've said the right things. It's standing in our power, standing in our confidence, standing in our own validation that we are actually, everything that we need is actually here. Everything that we need is right inside us.
We've got to point at ourselves at Hirsch's and say, all I need is within me now. All I need is within me now. And you keep putting emphasis on other stuff. And the girls that are watching and in the chat, just put all I need is within me now and know that it is. When God put you on this earth, he gave you everything that you needed. You don't have to look anywhere for anything else, but except from within. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And this is the thing, it also, Margaret, it takes practice. Like you said, it's so hard to stand in front of that mirror. So often, if people really can't do it, it's about standing in front of the mirror, connecting to the eyes. And even if you just say the words, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, because you know how much you've already journeyed through this life. You've really, really made a big impact already in your life and the life of others around you. And so it's around you first of all, you say, I'm proud of you. And then you can move to, I've got on my daughter's mirror, it's I love you in all your power and magnificence. And I love that sentence. I love you in all your power and magnificence. And it was so awesome. On Sunday, I stopped outside the shop and I said to my daughter, just run in and buy some flowers. We were going to a friend's house. I said, just run in. I'm going to double park. You run in and get some flowers. So she ran in and got some flowers, and she jumped back in the car. She's 19 years old. She jumped back in the car and she said to me, Mom, I caught a glimpse of my reflection in the window as I was going into the shop. And I liked what I saw. I was like, yeah. She said, imagine myself to be as an adult. She says, I like my style, I like my shape, I like my hairstyle. And I'm going, that is so awesome. Yeah.
Especially at that age, because that's the age where you criticize yourself. You're so worried about what other people are going to say. You're worried about how people will react to you. And if you've got that strength and that power at that age, it just makes your life so easy. But I think it's affirmations. I've got written on my mirror, I am enough. And then I've got, I'm powerful, I'm courageous, I'm blessed. And I've got all the I ams. And I think that's also important to say. So every day when I get out the shower, the first thing I see is my reflection in the mirror. And I say, I'm courageous, I'm powerful, I'm blessed. And I've got this whole long line of affirmations. And I think to practice saying those affirmations as well is so important, and to say them out loud. I'm like, I only live with Alan, and he's got his own bathroom, so I can say them to myself. But I say them out loud every single day, and I think that's what reinforces it, because we do, like bathing, like motivation, like everything, inspiration, you've got to do it every day. If you don't do it every day, it doesn't work. You can't do it occasionally, now and then, when I feel like it. When I'm down, I'll do a couple of affirmations. No, it's something you've got to do every single day to reinforce it in your own mind that you actually are okay. I think we need that as human beings. We just have to have that constant affirmations, that constant talking to yourself and telling yourself that you are okay.
And I love that you say it out loud. I've got this beautiful client who's an old school friend of mine, actually, in Umhlanga. And her and her husband also, the kids have grown up, they've married, they're out the house. And when I was coaching her, and I was actually encouraging them to say this, she said she was in the bathroom and she's looking in the mirror and she goes, "I love you," out loud. And her husband shouted from the bedroom, "I love you too." She says, "It's not for you, it's for me." And I went, yeah. Really, really awesome. And
Yeah.
then I've had other women go, my bathroom, my children come into the bathroom. It's like not, So what this other client did, which I thought was really, really clever, she said when she got in the car, she dropped the kids off at school, and then she put the rearview mirror down. And so she could just see her eyes in the rearview mirror. And so you only see your eyes. You're not judging the rest of you, because that's often what happens is we look at the rest of us and we go, what's happening in the mirror? But she looked at her eyes, and she then was able to say it directly into her eyes. So whatever you do, you make a plan to say that and say it out loud. Like Margaret said, there's something about the vibration and the frequency of saying that love word, and you want to increase that within yourself. And the way you do that is verbalize. You verbalize it.
And I think with women, what we tend to do is, because we're always focusing on somebody else, we think if we do something for ourselves, we're being indulgent, we're being, selfish, because we're just doing this for ourselves. But it's so necessary to do it for yourself and to actually just be yourself. And my friend over here got divorced. She said she just realized she was just doing everything for this husband who was doing nothing for her. And she said, I've now focused on myself. And I spoke to her on the weekend. She said, I'm in the best physical condition I've ever been in. She has a magnificent figure. She looks amazing. She said, I used to spend all my money on my husband, but now I'm spending it on myself. And I don't feel guilty at all, because it's worth it. I'm worth it. And she said, he never thought I was worth it. And don't you love Miley Cyrus's new song, I Can Buy Me Flowers? You don't have to buy me flowers. I can buy myself flowers. I can sing the song. I can hold my own hand. I can do all of that. And I think that women are now becoming stronger. And somebody like Miley Cyrus, okay, she messed up a bit in the beginning, but now she's really pulled herself straight and she's really doing so well. And that song is just amazing. So those of you who don't know, but my favorite song of all time is by Helen Reddy, which is I'm Woman. And that is a fantastic song. To all the women out there, if you don't play it, especially when you're feeling a bit down, just play it. It'll just boost you up and make you feel amazing, because music does make you feel amazing. But let's go on to self-care. And why do you think that self-care matters to us so much? Because it's something we don't do naturally. It's something we almost have to force ourselves to do.
I know. And I think this is internally the makeup of women, is we care for everybody else.
Yes.
And we love everybody else, and we are nurturers. That's our characters are. And whether you're mothering children or whether you're mothering a business, that's what women do. So we are mothers at the heart of it, and we do tend to give more than anything. So we've got to stop, take a breath, and go, okay, how do I recharge me? Because if I'm recharged and I am feeling better about myself and I'm caring more about myself, I've got more of me to give out there to the world. And I think a lot of people get lost. They get lost in their business, or they get lost in the family as just being, not just being, but you're the mom of this family, and you don't take time out for you. And I remember the same thing, Margaret. My kids were little and I was listening to an Oprah. And she had a group of women up there going, we go away for a week every year. And I'm going, I can't leave my family for a week every year. It would, how do you leave your family for a week every year? My family would collapse without me. That was what I was thinking. But it is so good. It is so good. When I really realized it, and then I was taking time out just to give me time. Yes. And whether it's nowadays, I'll take myself, I've booked on Thursday, full massage for me, 2.5 hours I'm spending, on getting a full massage. So if you don't take that time out or go away for weekends or recharge you, then how do you actually give more to others? And it's about knowing that, number one, you can spend money on yourself, like you said. Number two, you can give yourself more time to be caring for you. And often I say to women, how do we treat ourselves, but without food? because
Yeah.
often we've treated ourselves with food.
Where's
So
the
what are
food?
the things we do to treat ourselves without food? And for me, it is massaging. It's working in my garden. I love my garden. I love potting around with herbs and flowers and things like that. I love, I've got beautiful dogs that play in the garden whilst I'm in the garden. For me, that like I'm there, feet on the ground, it's filling my soul. It's filling my soul. I love going for walking on the beach. Margaret, you and I are both beach people, and that's exactly it. I love being by the ocean. So take myself on a date to the
Yes.
beach, to the
Yes.
ocean, be in the sea, just feel those minerals just filling your body up, because that's all part of actually helping us, the grounding, the minerals,
Yes.
making sure that that you are treating yourself well with food. But then there's all sorts of other things, like
Yes.
having a long bath,
Mhm.
putting candles on in the bathroom for you. You're
Yes.
worth it. You're worth it. Put the candles on. Don't let them be there on display for everybody else. Use them. Use them. Fill up the room full of essential oils, and make sure that there's good smells coming in. Because when you embrace that, and when you really, really look at all other things in life to actually enhance the way that you're looking and living, and all other things in your environment. I know you said on your mirror, you put all the, I love yous and the affirmations. You can put that all over the house. So
Yeah.
you absolutely fall in love with your bathroom. You can fall in love with your bedroom. You can fall in love with your kitchen. You fall in love with your living room. You fall in love with your home.
Yeah.
Put up signs in your. I've got signs next to my bed and in my bathroom and in my office and everywhere. I've got signs up that are reconfirming how worthy I am. That's
Yes.
what they do. They just reconfirm that I am doing what I love to do, and
Yeah.
I'm living the life I love to do. I get to wake up in the morning and look at the ocean, and I'm going, oh, just
That's
love this.
amazing. I love that. I get up every morning. The first thing I do is look at the sea. But I always tell people, you teach people how to treat you. People will treat you how you've taught them. And Faye says how you love yourself is how you teach others to love you. And Faye comes from a very loving family. They're the most amazing family. And her own family is very loving as well. And I think that's because you've actually taught them how to treat you. You just don't allow people to treat you how they want to. You teach them what you will accept and what's also not acceptable. There's a book called Boundaries, which I absolutely love. But Carol says on here, the book, The Artist's Way, says, take yourself on a date once a week. It's treating yourself and doing what you want to do. And if I read a book, I've got to read it from cover to cover. I can't read it a few pages at a time. So when I want to treat myself, I say to Ellen, I'm going to the beach, I'm putting the umbrella up, I'm sitting there and I'm reading this book, and I read it from cover to cover. Then I come up and my soul is filled. I love the beach. I can sit on there all day, every day. And I love reading, but it's something that I can't do. I can't do a little bit. So I have to give myself a lot of time to do it. And it's so, so important. Carol said, a boss asked me once why he should give me the job. And I said, because I'm worth it. I got the job and make sure that I was worth it. Because when you say I'm worth it, you have to be so worthy. I'm just qualified now as a realtor, and I was offered over 150 jobs. I narrowed it down to 3. And they all said to me, in fact, I got a 4th one who said, we really want you. And it's so difficult to choose now, because I have to choose which one. But where I want to go, where I'm going to give the most value to them. I'm not thinking about me. I'm thinking, where can I give the most value? And I said, no, you've got to choose what's best for you, not what's best for them. So yeah, it's really, really amazing. I never thought I'd be going for a job at 74, but still. Shemaine says, positive affirmations help you go forward in the healing process with loving thoughts and with peace in your heart. One must accept oneself without judgment. And I think that's so important, to accept yourself without judgment. People will judge you no matter what you do, so long as you don't judge yourself. So can you tell me what you feel about judging yourself? Because we tend to, as women, oh my God, I'm judging
it is, and it's exactly, and it's really, really hard, because you know what? We've all made mistakes in the past. That's being a human being, but it's not by judging ourselves by what we did wrong in the past. It's actually by learning those lessons and going, that was a lesson. That now I'm not going to do that same thing again. I've actually
done that, got the t-shirt.
Exactly. Yeah. So we've got to move past that. We've really got to move past that and not linger on the past, because I think that's where our judgments come up. It's like, oh my gosh, look what I did.
Inner critic. Your inner critic is the worst thing for you, because that inner critic keeps on coming and yakking at you inside your head. You've got to get it out here. For those of you who have never trained with me before, I always wear the elastic band on my wrist. And the minute you have that negative thought, you go like that. pow, and it hits that vein here. You can see it, and it really stings, and this pain goes right through your body. But what it does, it gets rid of that negative thought and draws in a positive thought, and then you change to a positive way of doing it. So Shemaine says, your positive affirmations help you to go forward, and they really do. Those positive affirmations, accept, learn, and move forward, says Seba Peewee. That's really good. I love that, because I'm always looking for those 3 words, eat, pray, love, and all those. Good, better, best at Hirsch's, and we do that. So I love that. Accept, learn, and move forward.
Yes, I love that too. I love that too. And when you filled up with love, I find that this is just a beautiful way that you then interact with people, is you start slowing down. This is what I have found. You start slowing down and you start listening with love.
Yeah.
And if you really, really listen with somebody with love, and you love yourself enough, and you're actually that person that is speaking to you, you're giving them what I call sacred attention. You're giving them such beautiful, beautiful attention. They feel that. They feel that, and they know that you're actually different. You're different to somebody else who's not actually absorbing them and not actually fully giving them the full attention. And I think that also starts to shine out. And then when you listen with love, you're able to speak with love.
Yeah.
So then you speak the words with love back to them. And it's coming from the inside out. It's really coming from the inside out. So if you think about loving yourself, it's not just you feeling good about you, which is going to increase your vibration, because we know that the good feelings, feeling happy, feeling love, love vibrates at a frequency of about 500. Guilt, anger, fear, that's all very low vibration. Yeah, so low. And so when we're at a higher vibration, we start attracting different people into our life for different reasons. And so when you start attracting the people up here, you're going to get that good job. You're going to actually be able to go, I am worth it. I am worth it because I so love me, and I so love what I do in my life. And I can offer so much more to others because it's coming from the inside out. And so that love just pours out of you. It really pours out of you when you filled up, when you've really, really filled up. And so we've got to be able to fill up our cup on a regular basis. And whether it's a daily basis by saying the affirmations and saying, I love you in the mirror, or whether it's a weekly where you're actually spending time in nature and filling yourself up. And for me, a lot of people will go for walks in the forest or walks up a mountain or just anywhere. I feel anywhere in nature actually just makes you feel better, because the frequency of nature is also higher. It's much higher,
And for all the people who are depressed as well, how you are, I've been so depressed lately. Well, I always say, get off your ass and go and help other people, because that's what's going to help you more than anything else. Because as soon as you're giving to others, your blessing, you just open yourself up for the blessings to be received. But don't do it because you want those blessings. Just help others because it'll get you over yourself and start thinking. But I want everybody on the chat to just talk about their reinvention journey. If you had to reinvent yourself as the person you really want to be, what would you do? What would you do differently? And the other thing to talk about is in yourself in 1 year, 5 year, in 10 years time. Have you planned that? Do you know where you're going? Because, if you don't know where you're going, like Alice in Wonderland said, it doesn't matter which road you take, it doesn't matter what you do, you're never going to get there unless you know the road that you really want to do. So I really want everybody to plan their 1 year, 5 year, 10 year. And I've even done my 20-year goals. Just think in 20 years, I'll be 94. And but my mother was still alive, awake, alert, and enthusiastic at 94. So I'm hoping I will be too. And I just heard of a lady here. So what the people do here in America is they sell their house. They're old, so they sell their house to you, but they can live in it till they die. And this other lady down the road was 78 when she signed that agreement, and she lived to 109. She just died recently. So that poor person didn't come off better, but mostly, they die and then they leave their house to you, and that's how it works. So Carol says, when you see how badly off others are, you won't be depressed. You know that you really have struck it lucky, and that you've got everything that you want. And you've got to take that thought off your misery and turn it into a positive, and then you'll actually be happy. And so as Shemaine says, talking about love, one must start the day with love, spend the day with love, and end the day with love. And I think that's so important. And to have someone that you love and love, to me, the best thing in my life is my husband, who I love dearly. And I'm with him in the morning, I'm with him in the midday, and I'm with him in the evening. And it's just so amazing. And I'm so grateful every day that I've got him, because, without him, I think my life would really have been miserable. And Carol says, I went on a course and the one line came out that stayed with me is give the person in front of you the quality of your attention. And I think that's really important as well, because if the person in front of you is you must give them quality attention, you must give yourself that attention and make sure that you are the you that you want to be. And I think if people on the chat get nothing else out of this, it's that you've got to be the person that you want to be, and you can be that person. If you'd told me I'd be financially independent, living the life of my dreams on the beach, doing what I want every day, I would have said, oh, are you sure is that me you're talking about? But if you just work towards it, you can have everything that you want, and you can make your life exactly how you want it to be. But you have to work at it. It doesn't come easy. I always tell them, the little birds every day, God gives them enough seed, but my God, every day they're scratching from early in the morning till late at night. And that's what we're going to be hustling as well, to be the person that we want to be, and working harder on ourselves than we do on our job. I think that's also important.
Yeah, really, really important. And what I want to say is there's a lot of people that worry. They worry, they worry. Yeah. And that worrying will keep them up at night. And then they wake up in the morning and they worry. But really, if you think about it, worrying is an anticipation of something going wrong.
That you don't. In fact, I posted today, if you look at my post today, it says worry is praying for what you don't want.
Yes.
Isn't that crazy? You're actually praying for what you don't want. I mean, how daft are you to do that?
Well, that's exactly. You've got to, every day, you've got to think about what is your best outcome for the day.
Yeah.
What is going to be the best? What is going to be the best result for you for the day? Because this is part of slowly but surely reinventing yourself. It's like, if I do this, how is it going to be my best day? What I want to reflect back on at the end of the day and go, right, I was able to achieve that. I was able to do that. And it came out positively, and it came up in the direction that I really wanted to go. So instead of worrying about it not turning out right, it's actually about putting it out there in advance that it's going to be good, and I'm going to get this through, and I'm going to contact this person, and it's going to, if you constantly in the flow of things going right for you, things will go right for you. They'll actually go right for you.
And if you constantly worry about things going wrong, they'll definitely go wrong. Because I always say, a part of the blog I wrote this morning was, the words you say are what you prophesy into your life. And a guy phoned me up, it's Monday morning, so I get 101 reasons why I can't come to work on a Monday morning. This guy said, I've got such problems with my, every time a bug goes around, I catch it. Isn't it amazing? I said, it's not amazing, because you actually are prophesying it into your life by saying that. You can't do that, And then somebody else phoned me this morning. He said, I've been on the toilet the whole night. I said, so I was sitting on at 9 o'clock last night. I'm still sitting on at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I said to him, that was your choice. You didn't have to do that, And he said, no, Margaret, it wasn't my choice. And I said, no. While you're sitting there, Google Eric Edmeades Wild Fit and just see what you've eaten that made you so sick, because it must be terrible. So, and I think you have to look good, you have to feel good, and you have to do good if you want to be good. And I think everybody must step into the version of themselves that they want to be. Are you stepping into that version of yourself that you want to be? Or are you just sitting with the moaning about the person that you don't want to be, that you actually are? And I think that's the big crunch in it.
Yeah. And it does, you know what, you can start with small steps, but when you get into this flow, it just starts becoming naturally, so the signs up on your mirror might be step number 1, but then, if you're anything like me, I'm dancing in the shower every morning, and I'm loving, how I feel. I love how my body feels. I love the energy that I have in my body. I love that I can actually, have this energy to give to everybody all throughout the day. And
you give to people all day long. You have your webinars all day long. You have your patients all day long. I don't know how you do that, because I can't do that. I have to, but I'm working about 5 jobs at the moment. So I swap from one to the other all the time. But I don't know how you do that. It's amazing. How do you actually start off? How do you motivate yourself to be energetic and enthusiastic with them? Because I think I teach selling, and selling, you're going to be enthusiastic about, the product. But how do you get enthusiastic about the person and what you're teaching?
Well, I think for me, it is also about just absolutely loving what you do. I am so passionate about helping other people. And so every time I have a new patient coming through to the clinic, it's like, okay, I'm like this detective. I'm going to get to the root cause. I want to find the root cause. Why have you got these symptoms? Why have they shown up in your life? And what is that root cause? What are we looking for? And so every client is actually so different, and every person is so different. And I feel like, if we can come to a plan that really suits you of how to move you into the next level of your health and wellness, well, then I've done my job, and then I'm there supporting and guiding if they want support and guidance all the way through. But every single person is so different and unique. Everybody is unique. And so your journey up until this stage, what's happened to you physically, what's happened to you mentally, what's happened to you emotionally, is going to depict how you show up in life. So how you showing up now is like, what do you want in your future? So what do you want your future to look like? And how do we tweak this? How do we tweak the physical? How do we tweak the emotional? How do we tweak the mental, so that you can actually start living the life of your dreams? And so it's really lovely when you're in it. Sometimes you can't see. Sometimes you can't see, like, what am I doing wrong? Like, why don't I have this life that I really want? And it's really just to unpack that, and then to put a really good plan in place, for everybody moving forward. So yes, I love what I do, and I think that's why I have the energy that I really am, that
I think you can't fake it. I always say to people, when you pushed, when life really squeezes you and pushes you, the real you comes out. If you squeeze an orange, you can only get orange juice. You can't get tomato juice out. And so you have to make sure that your authentic self is like that. And we've got somebody coming on Facebook Live, Sipsana, who says, she says she's currently unemployed, but I had to rise above the fact that I'm waiting for something that might not happen at all, finding employment. And so she's doing a course now, which is going to redirect her. And, a lot of those courses, they help you to find jobs at the end. So but you can get a job, and job stands for just over broke. But you could actually also do something, and everybody has a skill. Every woman has a skill. And that's what I teach, from baking to sewing to crocheting to gardening to a million other things. Every woman has a skill. Use your skill and sell your skill. And with my friend Braheen LaRue, we've done just teaching the ladies to crochet. We ran out of wool, so we just used plastic bags. And she crochets, and she's made the most amazing things now. Pot holders, shoes, everything out of these crochet plastic bags. So we teach people to make something from nothing. So by all means do the course. But while you're doing that course, think, what can I do? What skills can I use? And it's to have the belief in yourself that you can actually do that. And you have to think, God gave me wonderful skills that I haven't, my potential is still inside of me. So when it's squeezing you like that, I think your true potential will come out. And
I think what you've really got to remember is that when something happens, like you lose a job, or you've got to move house, or whatever it is, the words that I always say to myself, there's something better waiting. There's something better waiting. And so you get excited about, what's that next step that is going to be even better? Because if you once again, raise your vibration to, there's something better, instead of falling down into, oh my gosh, I don't have a job, you go, wow, what else is there? What else is there? The minute you are energetic and excited about the next step in your life, something's going to match that. Something's come through. And so it's really about not collapsing into any of those feelings of fear or worry. It's about getting started. What is that next thing? God's got something in plan for you. The universe is going to open up something for you. What is that? What is that going to be? And live with that in you, and you'll see what happens. You'll see what happens, and you'll see how quickly it can happen.
Kinasani Jeanette McLongo is just coming. She's, I'm 55 years of age, and I make sure that I come first. Taking care of yourself is my priority. Serving other people is truly fulfilling, and I'm so grateful for the gift of life. And I think that's what it is. As you open yourself up with gratitude, you're ready to receive all the blessings that God's going to send your way. And I think also at some stage, you're 55, or you start to think, oh my gosh, I'm halfway through my life here. I've got to make this better than it is, and make myself better than I've been all this time. And I think that's the beauty of it. Usually at that age, your kids are off your hands. You've just got yourself to look after, and you make sure that you are the best you that you can possibly be, and step into that amazing future that God's made for you, and that you can make for yourself, because you've got to have your own direction of where you're going to be going. And Carol says, Terry, you're right, because it's like I'm going from class 1 to class 2. Each change brings about knowledge, growth, and confidence. And that's life. Life is a journey. It's not a destination. So every day you're learning and growing and becoming that better person, becoming the person that you really want to be. And that you know that's all going to be fine in the end. If it's not fine, it's not the end yet. So you thank you, Lord, you've given me another day to learn and to grow. And that's what you say, either you win or you learn. That's what it's all about, you know.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. And this is why an energetic and the self-care is so, so important. It's because it's to help you on the next step and the next day and your next best self and
Yes.
living your best life. Because we can say all these things, but are you implementing them? You know, are you taking action? Are you living it? Are you living it authentically? Are you really just being true to you? You know, so really these little tools and tips that we give you every time we meet, it's take these and actually implement them. You know, put action to what we're saying. You know, put the list up on the mirror. You know, do the mirror exercise where I say I love you. Do the self-care, put self-care in place. Get excited about what is your next step in your journey. Up your raise your frequency and your vibration, because if you do those things, it's really, really going to work well. And you know, the food that Margaret and I eat, it's all living food. It's living food into the living body, because we want the energy. We want the energy. So we want this living body. We want to make the most out of our lifetimes and our lifestyle. And so how do you do that? You be energetic, you put living food into this living body. So it's really important.
I think what I did and what really worked for me is you draw a line from 0 to 100, put a mark at 50, and then you put 10, 20, 30, 40, and then you draw, this is how old I am, and this is how much I've got in my life. We're all going to live to about 100 today, so we know that. And I had such a short bit of my life left. I thought, I've got to put as much as I can possibly put into it. And, you know, people said, you can't change countries at your age. I said, I'm going to change countries. I'm going to go and experience another country. I'm going to see what it's like. And, you know, you don't realize that you're an inspiration to others, because my 16-year-old grandson was offered a scholarship, and he could go to America, France, or UK, or Colombia in South America. So he chose Colombia because he said, I speak Spanish there. I don't know how to speak Spanish, but I'll learn. It's up in the mountains. I don't have mountains where I live. I live on the beach. And so, you know, and I just think, if I hadn't done all the things I've done, he'd probably be happy to sit in his little box at school, you know, and, you know, he's standard 8, our standard 8, their grade 10. And I think, you know, by doing that, you don't realize that by doing different things and be standing in your own strength and power, you really are an inspiration to others. And that, to me, is the greatest thing when people say to me, I wasn't going to do this, but I saw you doing that. So I think I can do it as well. And Carol says, how can people tell you what you can't do? People always tell you what you can't do. Oh, Margaret, you can't go and live in America. No, that's impossible. You're never going to make it. Oh, Margaret, you can't become a realtor. You know, there's so many realtors. There's going to be no work for you. And, you know, and you start to listen to these things. And if you're not careful, and I think this is what this is about, and that's why you've joined this talk, is because if you're not careful, you start to believe all those things that people tell you can't do. And then you think to yourself, no, I better not take the step. And it takes quite a lot of courage. And that's why my first thing is I'm courageous, as on my mirror, which it takes a lot of courage to go and do these things. And everybody's telling you, no, you can't do that. And you just say, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to prove to you that it can be done. And I did it, and I proved that it can be done. Now I've taken the next step with this new job. And I have to be good, and I have to be good at it, because Alan said, but you're good at everything you do. Yeah, but I haven't tried this before. I don't know, I might not be good at it, but I'm going to give it my best shot. And I know I'm so lucky to have Shane and Faye who back me all the way. So, and they keep me up to date with all the modern things that I can't do. So I think it's good to have a good team around you as well, to have a good support system. I'm so blessed I've got an amazing support system. But it didn't come by accident. I actually built it one brick at a time as well. And I think that's also important. So Charmaine says, it's awesome to take your passion and teach others, which doesn't cost you a cent. And that's so good. She said, I'm teaching kids and adults how to make chew toys for the animal shelter. That's lovely. It costs a fortune if you buy them from the shops, so I've learned to make them. So now I'm teaching others to do it. I'm so happy to hear that, because I always make a list of all the things that people do to make money out of nothing. And that's something. So, you know, I think it's amazing. I think the job that I found out during COVID, which was a job I'd never heard of, is a man who rents out bladders. Now you might say, how does he rent a bladder? Well, what he does is if your swimming pool's got a crack in it and you don't want to, water's expensive. You don't want to pump all the water out and reuse it, so he has these big bladders that you pump all the water from the swimming pool into the bladder, you fix the swimming pool, and then you put the water from the bladder back into the pool. And that's how he makes a living. And through COVID, he made a fortune because everybody was in their homes, they were looking at their swimming pools. And, that was a wonderful thing. But now Charmaine has told me about the Chewy toys for animal shelters. Charmaine, please send me a quick mail or WhatsApp. Shane will put my WhatsApp and my email into the chat and tell me how you do that and how amazing it is, and send me a picture because then I'll blog on it and tell people, because it is. And Carol said it takes courage, but I'd have to probably have worried you all your life if you didn't do it. I don't want to get on my deathbed and say, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I take the chance? Why didn't I go to America and have a look around and see? And people said, how can you leave South Africa? I said, my heart will never leave South Africa. I wear Africa around my neck, as you can all see. But my heart will never leave Africa, but my body's left it for a while, but I can always go back. And I think, Carrie, you just New Zealand.
I'm exactly the same. My heart is African. My heart is African. And yeah, we go backwards and forwards all the time. We'll go backwards and forwards all the time. And it's always there. But it's just experiencing just something different and something new. And what happens in that experience is you learn about yourself. You learn about yourself, how adaptable you really are, how you can reinvent yourself, how you need to actually do things differently in different countries, because different countries there's different ways.
It's not easy, but you've got to be flexible. You can't say, this is how I am. This is me. How I am. I'm going to be flexible. I'm going to try this and try that. And yesterday I was playing, here they call it pickleball, which is they call pickle in South Africa. Pickleball, and try something new and something different. And I was hopeless. And I used somebody else's balls when I shouldn't have. But anyway, I gave him back his balls.
I love it. I love it. But that's exactly it. Like, what else can you do today or this week that is actually going to fill up your cup? Like, what else are you going to be able to do? So just think about that and pop it in the chat if you can. Like, what is one thing that will stretch you and that you can actually just implement that is actually going to take you to the next level of where you want to be? Because this is about taking action. We're talking here, but how do you implement? So what is one thing that you can do this week that will actually stretch you to loving yourself more, filling your cup up more, and being able to feel better about yourself? What is that? I'd love to hear.
Well, for me, I've just been blogging on journaling because I think journaling is so important. And the nice thing about journaling is, when you get old and gray and you're sitting on your rocking chair and you're ready to write your memoirs, you've got them all written down because you've been journaling them all along, and you forget what's happened. I mean, at the moment, I'm going through my old pictures from way back when. And, I forgot all that happened. Oh my gosh, I remember that person. Who were they again? And it's so important, one, to get your pictures out and make sure you've got pictures of your whole life. And two, to journal it. But three, to get ready to write the story of your life. Because, God gave you this blank canvas to paint the story of your life. And he gave you a blank book to write the story of your life. And just if you journal, it's just so good for you to get it down, to write it down. I type because my writing's so bad, I can't even read it. I'm actually trying to read my notes that I wrote yesterday, and I can't even read half of them because my writing's so bad. But I said, if you say I can't do this, you say God can. And I think it's so important to have a faith, no matter who you pray to. You've got to have that faith. I don't think I can do this on my own, but with God's help, I can do it. I think that's really, and I've got to let God lead the way. Sometimes you think you can lead the way, but sometimes you just got to step back and let God lead the way, and he'll lead you to the right way. And if you don't know what the right way is, sit and meditate. Because I always say, when you pray, you talk to God, but when you meditate, God talks to you. And it's so important to sit there and let him talk to you, because he's got a lot to say, but sometimes you don't like what he says, and it's not really the right thing. And when I was trying to make up my mind about these jobs, I just took a walk on the beach, and I said, I've got these 3 jobs. I don't know which one to take. And I went for a walk, and I came back. I said, I've been told to take this job, but you know me now, I'm still going on about it, but I know which job I've got to take, but I'm still going on about all the others, because you never know if you're making the right choice or not. And I think to have an abundance mindset, and to the lady who's on Facebook now, who's unemployed, I think you've got to have the abundant mindset. You're rich or poor in your mind first. In your mind first, you become rich or poor. The money in the bank is irrelevant. If your mind says you're going to be rich, you'll be rich. If your mind says there's abundance out there, you can't count the stars in the sky, you can't count the drops of water in the ocean, you can't count the grains of sand on the beach. There's so many. There's so much out there for you. if you don't have it, you've got to start working to get it. It's out there and it's for you. You've got to work for it though. As I told you, God's not going to throw it into your lap. There's no ways he's going to do that. He's going to wait and watch and see what you do to get that abundance and to make it part of your life. So I think it's really, really important that we do that. And the way to do it is, one, to love yourself. Two, Nicole says, I'm going to start talking to myself in the mirror, saying it out loud and empowering myself every day. You have to do that. And Jane says, at the end, you can throw in, for all the urbanites joining this evening, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the East Coast Radio Show. It starts on the 29th of July, and he'll be cooking. Oh, I'll be cooking, and he's with me on Saturday the 6th. So Captonians, for the new store, we've got a new store opening in Claremont, and we'd love you to join us there on the 11th of July. Just WhatsApp me your email address or your cell phone number, and I'll send you an invite to our VIP evening, which is on there. And you'll see how we've made something out of nothing. When I married Alan, he could neither read nor write. I had a standard matric. We had absolutely nothing. And today we're living the life of our dreams. And we're not only doing that, but we've created employment for 2,500 people. And to me, that's important, because on average, especially in South Africa, one person's salary actually supports 7 people. So that's a lot of people that we're supporting. And if you do that, Lungile says, I'll put myself first and I'll tell myself, I love you, Lungile, while looking into my eyes. So Lungile, it's so important to do that. And once you do that, you'll see your life will start to change. It'll start to turn and things will start to go in your favor and go for you rather than against you, because you're creating the life that you want to live. Carol said, if you love Jenny, you'll love The Artist's Way. A friend of mine bought the book and ended up writing a book about Ritalin. Hug them, don't drug them. Well, I am so anti-Ritalin. And one of the biggest fights I've had with my children is one of them, 2 of them were on Ritalin. Oh my God, no, I hate that. I think it's terrible. I think you create a person that is, did anybody ever see The Stepford Wives? It's a very old movie, and most of you probably too young to have seen it, but it's how they created these people who just worked like robots, and that's what Ritalin does. It drags people into it. I was told to put my son onto Ritalin, and I never did, and thank you, Lord, that I didn't, because today he's the most amazing person who can go out into any company, lectures to people around the world on business and family businesses, and that is a multimillionaire in his own right. And I honestly believe that he got there because I refused to put him onto Ritalin. And and as you say, just I'm just going to hug them, don't drug them. Yeah, it's just
yeah, I love that. I love that. And Carol, I've done The Artist's Way as well. I love that book. You can refer back to it. So that's really, really cool. And it really is, Margaret, when you think about the drugs that our poor children have got exposed to, it really does, it cuts the messaging off from the gut to the brain. Yes. And it just doesn't allow people to be who they truly are. And they walk around.
Yeah, it's so important to be able to think today. I mean, these kids are coming into the world and they've been given certificates. If they come last or they come first, they all get a certificate. That's so bad. You've got to, know that you've got to try hard. You've got to be able to think for yourself. But to me, if you had to say, what's the most important thing, is to be able to think for yourself. And that is really critical, because a lot of people, because they've been on these drugs all the time, it stops you from thinking. I never thought of that. It cuts off the spot between the brain and the gut. And that is so important. Yeah, and the chemicals in all the food as well, it's just unbelievable. And I see kids drinking Coke and there's Energade things early in the morning. I've seen a woman putting Coke into a baby's bottle, and I just wanted to shake and say, don't do that.
My kids have got to hold me back sometimes when I see things, because I'm going, I can't believe people are doing that. But you know what? It is about teaching. It's about awareness, because people don't know better. When you know better, you do better. So this is why we just want to teach. We want to get word out there so that you actually do know better and you feel better, and you feel better within yourself. Because if you know that, then the little shifts and changes, they become so easy. They really do become so easy. So you can really implement them. So yes, just know better. Yeah.
And Faye says she sent us a link here to Joel Osteen's amazing inspirational blog, which I love Joel Osteen. And for even the people who are not Christians, he is just such an inspirational speaker, and he just speaks such sense and so down to earth and normal. I've been to his church in Kingwood in Texas, and it just was the most amazing experience. 16,000 people in a church, and his passion is lighting and sound, and the band was amazing, and it was just the most amazing experience. And I'm actually going back there this year. just to experience that whole setup again, but to listen to his inspirational speaking. And of course, he's taken amazing flack from people who complained to him about everything from you name it. They've really whacked him with it, but he just has his faith is so strong. And I think we've got about 5 minutes left. So we're just going to be summing up now. And I think your faith in yourself has to be so strong. And you've got to know that you're not walking this journey alone. God is walking it with you every step of the way. Whoever your God is, if you call him Buddha, Allah, Krishna, Rama, Jehovah, you know who it is, and you speak to that being, that superior being that's out there walking this journey with you, and know that if you can't do it, he will help you to get there, and he'll help you every step of the way, and that when you were born, God put the seed of greatness inside of you, and your journey on this earth is to grow that seed of greatness and to become the person that you want to be. And you can become that person, no matter what that person looks like. When I got my standard matric and I wanted to go to university, I couldn't. It took me till I was 70 to get my MBA. You can get it in the end if you just keep trying. And I had to start with smaller courses, with smaller business degrees, and work my way through my all the different degrees to get there. But you can, and that's why I come on and I say to people, it doesn't matter what you decide. And to the girl who's unemployed, yes, by all means do a course and try and get a job. But if you can't, think what you can do, because you've got to start small. You start, God gives you a little bit of money and he sees how you handle it. And if you handle it okay, he gives you a bit more money, he gives you a bit more, and he just gives you a bit more at a time. He lets you go slowly because you've got to learn to handle that money. If they just throw all that money at you, you'll just waste it and it'll just go into the ether. And like everything else, you've got to do it a little bit at a time. You've got to build your life. Vivi says, I wish more women and mothers were watching. And this is a nice hangout. I love hanging out. Kerry and I love hanging out together. And Carol says she loves the seed of greatness. And know that you've got to be your authentic self. And your authentic self is okay. If you're feeling grotty, just go and be grotty by yourself. But if you're feeling good, go out and spread the good word around everybody else. And it's just amazing. As women, we've got to get over our emotions. We've got to discipline ourselves to do what we've got to do to do the right thing. And you find once you start eating right, everything else goes right. I think it all boils down to that. Kerry, just tell us a bit about your goddess. Kerry and I are going on a fruit diet. We normally over new moon full moon, go into a water diet, which is really difficult. I can't begin to tell you it is difficult, but I do it. But now we're doing a fruit fast over this time. So we're eating fruit for 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We're just going to eat fruit. Please, Kerry, put on your website what fruit we can eat, because I went yesterday, I bought a whole lot of stuff, and it says these grapes are not going to be in your diet because grapes are so full of sugar, they're going to put on so much weight. But anyway, it's a fruit that we can eat, and the fruit that Carol says, what fruit can you eat for these 3 days? The fruit is anti-inflammatory. It's come on, Kerry, you know all the antis.
So fruit is just an amazing, and I think that it's got a bad rap over the years because of the natural sugars, but the body recognizes the natural sugars, and it's so much beneficial to have natural sugars and not refined sugars. But fruit does deep healing at a cellular level. So believe it or not, because people go, I can't have a banana because bananas are fattening. No, bananas get rid of the bad bacteria in your gut. So you want to get rid of that bad bacteria. That's saying an apple a day keeps the doctor away. An apple actually helps the liver. It supports the liver to detox properly. So there are definitely fruits like pawpaw and papaya, amazing. But every time I have one, I have a spoon of the black seeds, because the black seeds kill off the parasites that could be there in your gut as well. So there are so many different things that you can actually.
I've never eaten the seeds of pawpaw.
I just swallow them, because if you bite them, they're a little bit bitter. So you just swallow the seeds, and they actually kill off all the parasites in the gut.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, worms and parasites. So it really is knowing that fruit actually is to heal you. That's exactly what it's doing. And if you think back to the kings and queens ate fruit. I have this picture of Cleopatra being given the grapes, and I'm going, their bodies were strong. Their immune systems were strong. It was the peasants that ate the grains. So we want to eat like the kings and queens. That's what we want to do. We want to absolutely have the good stuff, the living food, the vibrational food going into our bodies to heal, and to give us the energy that we're needing. So full moon is a beautiful time to do it, because full moon is actually, you know, we do have pathogens in our body anyway. We all have pathogens in our system. We're a host for them. So don't think it's anything crazy if you do have bacteria and parasites and viruses in the body. But we can actually get them under control. We can really get them under control. And the time to do it is over full moon, because their life cycle, they multiply. The parasites' eggs hatch over full moon. So their life cycle is...
All those eggs hatching inside of you. Ah!
I know, but that's just what happens. But
Right, it does happen, yeah.
Yeah. And if you think about full moon, you know, we talk about the Looney Tunes come out in full moon. And it's
Yes.
actually, for me, it's like this irritation that's in you because of all these pathogens that are in you, and, you know, make you a little bit loony over full moon. So we want to put them back in their box. We want to get them under control.
Yeah.
And we do that by absolutely eating the fruit over this time that actually kills the different pathogens and enhances your energy and heals you at a cellular level. So, so
that's why we do it, folks. We don't do it just for nothing. We do it because there's a reason. So, wow, that hour just flew by. Kerry, thank you so much. Our next meeting's on the 17th of June, and we're going to do navigating time for optimal wellness through food and eating habits. And at the end of the day, if you eat right and your gut is right, everything goes right. If you eat badly and your gut is bad, everything goes bad. It just is a fact of life. That is how it works. So please, I hope you enjoyed this week. Please join us on the 17th of June. We'll send everybody a reminder. And we are going to talk about optimal health and what do you eat to actually make yourself good. And you know, all the things you've been taught, if you watch Eric Edmeades' Wild Fit video, he tells you all the stuff you've been taught is right to eat is actually not. And if you change your diet, you will definitely change your life. I can promise you. You know, everybody knows I'm vegan, and they say, how do you kill a conversation? You tell people you're vegan. That just kills the conversation in the room. But at the end of the day, people say, oh my God, you look amazing. I can't believe you're 74. You're swimming and you're playing paddle and you're doing all these things. So if I didn't eat right, I wouldn't be able to do this. So I think if we can get that message through, that's the way to go. So Kerry, thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who watched us on the Zoom and on Facebook Live. Those of you watching later on Facebook, we'd love to get your comments. You can send your comments back as often as you like. We love getting them. And yeah, people watch even months ahead, and people watch 3 or 4 of these at a time and then send us lots of comments. So thank you for that. And thank you, Kerry. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And we'll see you next month, 17th of June it is. And we're talking about
right. Yeah, and love yourself. Love yourself. Cool. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.